The C&O Canal is one of the most amazing places in the, I don't know, Maryland, DC area. I don't know if you know that the Great Allegheny Passage is something that actually connects Cumberland to Pittsburgh as well, Joel. I know that the C&O Canal is something of somewhat interest to you. Have you done the whole thing?
No, I think the most I've done is so growing up in Rockville, Maryland, spent a lot of time down
Is
on the
Rockville
Potomac River.
where it ends or starts?
No,
No. Okay.
and Rockville's not right on the canal. I mean, it's a little bit of, it's maybe a 25-minute drive to get down
Okay, because
there.
it's like Cumberland to like Fletcher's Point or something like that. I think in
Yeah,
DC.
Fletcher's Boathouse, I think it's
Yeah, that's
called.
what it is. Yeah,
So the longest trip I've ever done is from Seneca, Maryland, down to Fletcher's Boathouse.
got it. So Tim, are you familiar with the C&O Canal?
No, I'm not.
So it's 185.5, 184.5 canal flat trail, like little thin gravel. My dad and I did like 160 miles of it one time before I quit,
Wow.
like a little kid in 7th grade. What a loser I was that day.
Stay hard, man.
What'd you say?
Stay hard.
Yeah. I totally would not quit now, but like I want to do it. And actually, now there's one that there's a connection from Pittsburgh to DC. So it ends up being like 350 miles, but it's a cool trail. I enjoyed it. It would be a fun little week thing to do. I guess you'd have to have a gravel bike or something like that, but
yeah, I was going to ask you, walking or biking?
biking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And probably
Yeah.
a Huffy bike from Walmart at that point.
No, that's what I mean. When we did, my mom and I rode from Seneca to Fletcher's Boathouse. I don't remember how long it is, maybe 25 or 30 miles, maybe.
Okay.
We did it in the Saturday, and we were riding Huffy bikes essentially. This is, I mean, obviously, I don't think I was probably like 13 years old. So
That's probably how old I was when I did it. And so
yeah.
I was in Boy Scouts, so I had a lot of the camping gear. And my dad, for whatever reason, was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And we got close to home, and I was like, because we would get close to home, which I lived in Northern Virginia at the time, and so like we were kind of close to home. And I was like, "Oh, I'm really sore. I want to go home." And my dad's like, "We have like 30 miles left. Like, why are you so weak?" I don't know, but I quit. And I can't believe I quit something like that. I should have stayed hard, like David Goggins says.
Yeah.
But I bring that up because living here in the southeastern portion of Virginia, one of the things that I think is lacking is kind of an iconic trail or something where there is a lot of places to go out and see nature, if you will. Yes, there's the Oceanfront Trail, and there's First Landing and the Great Dismal Swamp and Nolan Trail and a couple other things, but I feel like they don't have the same like curb appeal as the C&O Canal or the W&OD Trail or something like that. From someone who lived up there and now lives down here, what are your thoughts on kind of trail life, if you will?
Well, and we have a tradition in my family where we mountain bike quite a bit. So, and we still do. Recently, for the first time we've lived here 22 years, but recently my youngest son and I went to Back Bay and rode that gravel road all the way down to the North Carolina line and back. And that was a lot of fun. I had been aware of that trail, but I had never even thought about doing it. And I will warn you that if you do go to that trail and you're going to go all the way to North Carolina, the last 2 miles is very deep sand. And we essentially walked our bikes the whole way for that last 2 miles. But we had fun. It was, I want to say it was back in April. So North Carolina, the Outer Banks was closed, but we actually, put our toes in the sand on the Outer Banks. So
I think I have a friend who just did it with like the thick bike tires, which I guess makes it easier. I'm not sure. I've never ridden my bike on the sand. That sounds terrible.
It's pretty pristine though, and I'd like to do it again. And this time, there's some trails that shoot out to the ocean, to the beach. And so but you're right. I mean, there's, from a trail perspective, we typically go to Williamsburg quite a bit. Yeah. There's not what I would call.
Put that on our calendar again, the Capitol Landing Trail.
Yeah, and we go to there's a park up there called Freedom Park that has 5 or 6 mountain bike trails in it, but they're not iconic. They're just,
What's the
you know,
Capitol Landing Trail? Is that the one that goes to Richmond?
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
But does
Interesting.
I don't know too much about that. Does that go along Route 5 a little bit, like on the
Mhm.
shoulder of Route 5? That
Not on
scares me a
not on
little.
the shoulder. It's all separate now. But
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
yeah, I was driving up there the other day for something, and I was amazed how many people are on that trail. I think that the only downfall, if you're looking to clip along at a pretty fast pace, that there are a lot of families on there that may slow you down. But it is definitely well used.
That's the Great Dismal Swamp in Chesapeake. It's great. It's a 8.5 mile down and then back. And what I love about that is there's not a lot of people on it, but when there is, people are not necessarily they don't know the rules of the road, if you will. And so there's a lot of people that so it's an old business route 17 that they, I guess, decided to move that business route somewhere else. And so they've kept this 8.5 miles. And so there's definitely a right side and a left side. And there's, it used to be a road. Well, every once in a while, you get a lot of people that are in big groups that, 4 to 7 wide, and they just think that they can take over the whole thing. It's like, and some people just don't look. And then you got me who's, trying to go a decent speed, not Jan Gerard fast, but, if he's listening, he'll laugh at that. It's the guy who goes like 24 miles an hour, and I'm not going that fast. But like you got these people, I'm like, I'm not trying to hit you. And then you got their little kid behind you, and you're like, he's on their tricycle, and you're like, But yeah, the Capitol Trail, maybe that's something I should try out.